Hey guys, Rachele here with Amethyst Ascension, and I seen a video earlier called Getting to Know Me, and it's an actual Get to Know Me tag from Fluffy the Witch, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to do this because I've done several videos, but I really haven't talked about myself at all, other than maybe a few beliefs while I'm making something, or I have a tarot series now, Learning the Tarot, 78 Days of Tarot, and I have the, the Thursday Craft Corner that I'm working on those, and some unboxings, stuff like that, but not really any information about myself. So I figured that I would do that. So it's a series of 16 different questions. And so I'm just going to get started. And I hope that other people see this. I think that this originally was, a year or even older than that. But the one that I seen was just recent this month. So I figured, you know what, I'm going to do it. So the first question is my age. I am 48 years old. I'll be 49 again in January. Capricorn. My location, I live in Michigan. My family, I'm guessing that this is immediate family. I've been with my husband for 29 years. We were set up on a blind date 29 years ago in April. We have been married. It'll be 25 years is our wedding anniversary on the 19th of May, this next month, which also coincidentally is also Prince Harry's and Meghan Markle's wedding date. I have 2 children, a son that's 24 and a daughter that's going to be 21 this year. They're both still at home, and my husband and I are perfectly okay with that. The only thing is I wish they'd clean up better after themselves, but other than that, we're very proud of the young adults that they are. The next question is my YouTube name explanation. Well, amethyst, you're staring at a big slab of amethyst right now. I love amethyst. Really, gemstones and crystals were one of those, I'd say, like how people will say marijuana is like a gateway drug. Well, crystals were like a gateway drug for me. Okay. So I love amethyst, and I honestly feel like we are going through an ascension process right now. And so my sister and I are looking to start up a brick and mortar store within a couple of years, few years. It really just, there's many factors as to when we open up a brick and mortar, but we started a website, and I'm slowly, very, very slowly putting stuff on there. But anyways, the business name we decided to go with was Amethyst Ascension. Also, Amethyst Ascension because of the A's. So any kind of listing, A's get higher up. So that was more my Capricorn business side coming out a little bit. But that's pretty much where that name came from. This is where it starts getting more in detail. How many years have I been a pagan is the question. Well, that's really hard to answer. And the reason why is because I think I've always had pagan beliefs, but I didn't realize that they were pagan. I started off Christian. I actually still am in theory, because I believe in Jesus Christ's teachings, about loving your God with your whole heart and your whole soul. And do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Judge not, lest ye be judged in the same manner in which you judge. You get where I'm going with that. I see that the Old Testament is more like a history and a point of view rather than an actual religion. But that's my belief. As a matter of fact, many of the origin stories, the Great Flood and more are actually, those stories are found in even older texts, like the ancient Sumerian texts. So that's got to open up some sort of questions for anybody, really. And very many parallels that run through the Egyptian stuff as well. And, I don't even know about other, like Sanskrit and other books that came into play, like the Dead Sea Scrolls, So, beyond that, I also studied with the witnesses, the Jehovah's Witnesses, for a couple of years, as did my sister also, where she lived. We live about a couple hours apart from each other, but she was studying at the same time as I was, and she didn't even know, we didn't know that both of us was studying. And we both decided to leave that around the same time because we were having the same issues, learning about how they, not unlike any other sometimes religions, where if you don't do exactly like they say, like in their doctrine, there's so much dogma and crap that's associated with it that, you can no longer be associated with anybody that does this or that. They turn their backs on people. And so anyways, we both left that around the same time. I even went to church camp as a teenager. I think I was like 13 years old. And that's really, at church camp is where I learned all of the books of the Bible, like Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth. I know them all. And that's something that just kind of stuck with me always. But as far as getting into that, my grandma, she was really big into divination, to a point of being very religious about her astrological daily messages. I remember her reading them, and it just seemed like she would do everything in her power every day in order to make sure that her astrological sign came true, her message came true. That's at least what I thought at the time. Let's see. She really is the first person that exposed me to tarot cards and palm reading, because I lived with her for a short period of time. And when I was like 18, and she would always go like once a month to this little pub, and she asked me to take her, and they would, I think for like $20, you could see a palm reader, you could see somebody that read tea leaves, you could see somebody that read the tarot, and you would, for $20, it was all of it. You would just switch different booths. It was like at a pub or restaurant or something like that, and I would take her to that. So that's kind of the first thing that exposed me. I didn't know at that time. It wasn't until years later that I found out that she even had a couple of tarot cards, and she was into magic and all that. I didn't know because the rest of my family was Christian, and just a lot of misconceptions and misunderstandings, I think, where that's concerned. The Christian religion really teaches you, anything that messes with any of that stuff is just evil, and you're not supposed to have anything to do with it. So it's like drilled in your head. And I also messed around with a Ouija board when I was a teenager with a girlfriend of mine, but honestly, at the time, it just scared the hell out of me. So I didn't pick that up again for many, many years. And I only picked it up for a short period of time with my husband when we were younger, because we got together when we were 19, our first apartment, when we were older, 19, and we've been together ever since. But I also had many things paranormal happen to me when I was a kid. I would have sleep paralysis attacks many, many times. And I had this experience when I was, God, I don't even know how old I was, but my sister and I shared a bedroom. We were living in a trailer. I was thinking maybe 4 or 5, maybe. I don't know, but I can remember it. It affected my life in a very traumatic way for many, many years. Even as a young adult, it affected my life. I was getting out of the bed, maybe, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, because I had to go to the bathroom. And my sister and I shared a bedroom. She was on the top bunk and I was on the bottom bunk. That's the way it always was, because she was older than me. I think we're like 16 months apart. But anyways, as I was getting out of the bed, I felt a hand grab my ankle from underneath of the bed, and it was trying to pull me underneath of the bed, and I was wide awake. As a matter of fact, I was screaming so loud that I woke up my entire family. My sister, she's seen me. She woke up, she was looking down to the side of the bed. She's seen me struggling, trying to get away and screaming, and it was just horrible. I mean, up until like I was, I don't know, 22, 23 years old, I would not sleep with my body, any of my limbs, anything outside of the covers. I could not even think about putting my hand or my feet over the side of the bed. It was just traumatic. My mom also, when I was really, really little, in a place that we lived, that actually a lot of paranormal things happened at this particular place, but I guess I used to walk around the house and, you know, had an imaginary friend like a lot of little kids do, but I think mine was taken to maybe a bit of an extreme. I don't know. I don't remember it, to be honest with you. My mom just retold me the stories of when I was talking with other people in the rooms with the doors closed. She would listen, and then she would ask me, who were you talking to? And I would always act like I wasn't talking to anybody, like I'm not supposed to say anything. So it scared the hell out of her, and she had me going through the house with my hand on the Bible with a priest reciting the Lord's Prayer because it scared her so much. And I also remember another time when I was like, I don't know, 5 or 6 years old, and I was with my sister, and this was at the same house. We no longer lived there, but a family friend, because it was a big house that was broke up into like 3 different apartments, and a family friend lived there, and my mom would go and visit with her. She was an elderly lady, and they would sit in the kitchen, and they would drink their coffee or tea, whatever they were drinking, and my sister and I would always go out back. And this was in Jonesville, Michigan, and it was right by, which is a village. It's not even a town, but there was a little river, a little creek out in the back, and we'd always play with this little girl. She's just the prettiest little thing, and I still can see her in my mind's eye. She had long blonde hair. She would wear a dress that now, when I look back, looked like something out of the 50s. She even had on saddle shoes. And my sister and I both distinctly remember playing with her several times when we would go over there. And it didn't even come out until years and years later. My mom said, you guys were never playing with anybody. We never seen anybody. My mom, if you know my mom watched us like a hawk. She was a really young mother, but she was very, extremely protective. And so she would be watching us the whole time while she was drinking her coffee. And she said there was never any other little girl out there with us. And so, you know, it's not in our mind if we're both seeing her, right? Well, my sister and I have always had this. Eventually, she's going to be on the channel. It's just she's got so much going on in her life. Both of her older daughters are having, one just had a baby like 5 months ago, and the other one is having a baby that's due right now. And of course, she works full time and helping them as new mothers and watching the baby. She has her hands full. So eventually, eventually you will see her beautiful face. But for now, it is what it is. You know, the reason why I even bring up any of these stories is to kind of show where the reason why I say I don't know about considering myself pagan. It's just because I've always been on this path. And there was always questions because of the things that I went through as a child. So I've always been a truth seeker. I mean, I can remember from being 8 or 9, 10 years old, wanting to be an archaeologist. You know, that was my thing because I was so, you know, it was probably about the time there was so much stuff about King Tut's tomb, and, you know, I just wanted to be an archaeologist. Ancient Egyptian things always piqued my interest, and so did learning about the ancient Incans and the Mayans and ancient cultures, the Hopi, Indian, all that, you know, and ancient aliens. I believe in aliens, but that's a whole other story. We're not even going to go into that. So anyways, moving along, my favorite part of the path, I would have to say, is just because I've always been a truth seeker, and I love exploring new knowledge and reading new things and learning, you know, different things about people, learning their stories. And it's such a beautiful community of people, and surrounding yourself with like-minded people, because even though I believed in parts of the Bible, there was always so much more that just wasn't explained that I had to find out for myself. But anyways, the next question is stone or crystal that you connect with most. Well, for me, the first stone that I connected with when I went into a bead store years and years ago when I first started beading, which, I mean, here's something that I'm working on with one of the Thursday craft corner. But anyways, was carnelian. I was immediately attracted to carnelian, and as time went by, then I was obviously attracted to amethyst and rose quartz. I love rose quartz and what it stands for. Labradorite. I love labradorite. It's just absolutely gorgeous. Oops. Here's a labradorite. And quartz crystal, of course, the clear quartz. Shungite from Russia. I have a few of these that I got for... Ooh, boy, I'm just really winning here today. Sorry, Shungite. Oh, I love you. But I got that in order to help protect it. It's very similar to orgonite, but it helps with harmful radio waves that could be caused, or electromagnetic waves that can be caused from like microwave ovens and electronics and computers and routers and modems. You know what I'm talking about. So I got that. If you don't know about it, I would suggest, looking it up. And black tourmaline. I love black tourmaline and amber. I carry it around with me many times in my pocket. An amethyst, a rose quartz, a black tourmaline, and a clear quartz, for various different reasons, protection and love and self-love and opening up my third eye, yada, yada, yada. So moving on, the next question is, what is my favorite herb? Well, that's also a very difficult one because I love so many different herbs for different things. Basil, dill, bay leaves, rosemary, sage, for various reasons. Hashi. What is my totem animal? I don't really know what my totem animal is, to be honest with you. I will say, though, that over the years, from the time I was really young, I've always had a lot of like prophetic dreams, or believed to be prophetic dreams, like the pale horse, and sitting down next to a river by a ferry boat and having a snake coming and talking to me, and then it bit my toe. Don't know what that means, but I've had lots and lots of dreams about snakes and alligators and crocodiles. As a matter of fact, I would have dreams that I had to protect my family from like alligators, and I knew that they were softer on the bottom side, so I'd be going through like a jungle and all of my family's behind me like I'm some sort of he-woman or something, and all these alligators were coming out and I was flipping them over and gutting them. And I know that sounds terrible, but I had to like protect my family from lizards or whatever. That's what I would always dream. And God, I hope they're not my totem animals, but I've always been really attracted to like big cats and elephants And dogs. I love dogs. I love my Sully baby. And he's always by me. And I know he's he's a troublemaker and he's feisty, but damn it, I just love him. And, you know, I even like speak for him all the time to the point where, I mean, it's like I really know what he's thinking in every situation. It's like I can hear him. And it's to the point where I've even got my family doing it now, talking for him. It's funny. The next question is the new moon or the full moon? For me, it's definitely the full moon. I have always been drawn to the beauty and the serenity of the full moon. I mean, I just go outside when the weather's good and I have a full moon. I just soak it in. I just put my face up to the sky and oh, it's just... But I've always been very drawn to the moon and the stars and stargazing and, you know, knowing all of the planets, and it's just very beautiful. Makes you feel small too when you look out there. But anyways, when I started learning about the tarot and like the shadow work that's associated with Sully, get out of there. Come on in here with mommy. The shadow work that was associated with the moon, it actually kind of surprised me because I always feel so much clarity from the moon, the full moon. I feel like that I'm at my best when it's the full moon. Not that there's, I mean, I'm definitely always wanting to learn more about myself and other people. That's kind of like one of my kinks, I guess you would say. But, and learning people's stories, and it's a beautiful thing. But, the next question is, hi baby, you want to give mommy kisses? Love you. You gotta go potty? No, give mommy a couple minutes, okay? The next question is top 2 witchy / pagan books. Well, that is also difficult for me because I have not read tons and tons of witchy pagan per se books. I have read a guide for the solitary practitioner by Cunningham, which I read that maybe 5 years ago. To Ride a Silver Broomstick, also about 5 years ago. Chakra information, a chakra book, the Chakra Energy Plan by Anne Selby. I want to learn about runes. Other books that I have in my cart that I still want to read yet. I read the what is it? The green. Where is it? I'll tell you. Oh, Grimoire for the Green Witch by Anne Mora. So, you know, at this time, I can't really tell you what my favorites are because I haven't read enough. I'm actually listening to Witch also by Lisa Lister, I think. And that is really good. But I've got the Audible version, and she's the person that's actually reading it. So you can actually hear just the passion in her voice and all that. So I highly recommend that. Really gets you just kind of fired up because she's very, very, very passionate. So, you know, maybe in a year from now, I'll have a better list of books. It's just a matter of finding the time to read everything, because I'm also reading books on tarot and amongst many other things. What is my heritage? That's the next question. So I am German and Irish and Italian. I am German and Irish on my mom's and dad's, or my mom's side. And the Italian, I'm also German, Irish, and Italian on my dad's side. Although I didn't know about the Italian bit until after I was maybe in my early 20s. My sister had actually met a family member, and, you know, it opened up a whole lot of more information. My grandma would always say that that we were German, Irish, and Pennsylvania Dutch. And my mom would say, Mom, that's exactly the same thing. Pennsylvania Dutch is German. So that's kind of a little funny side note for you, but element that you resonate with most, and this is the 13th question. The element that I resonate with most has definitely got to be earth. I am a cardinal earth sign. I'm a Capricorn. The earth, I mean, I love herbs. I like working with them. I don't necessarily have a great green thumb, but I'm learning and I want to learn. So I'm just going to keep on persevering. I feel like you do not ever fail until you stop trying. But anyways, crystals, definitely earth. Now, I love burning candles. I love, which is a fire, and I love the incense, and I burn it all the time, which is your air. Water, that's pretty much what I live on is water. We have a in-ground pool, so in the summertime, I am always in the pool. So I love water too, but earth is definitely my thing. I love the trees, and green is my favorite color, not because it's the color of money, but it's because it's the color of nature. So anyways, moving on. Oracle, tarot, or both? I would definitely have to say I am both, because it depends on the day. I'm fairly new to both, maybe about a year now for both, other than being exposed to tarot when I was younger. I didn't start actually learning about it until probably about a year ago. And I think I connect more, or I should say, I am trying to learn. My biggest hurdle with tarot is remembering. It's like I beat myself up. I mean, I'm going on 50 years old. Things are not so easy for me to remember anymore. I mean, I could read something, especially like going to Bible school and stuff, and, they would say, okay, so for next week, I want you to learn this Bible verse. And by the time we would leave the class, I already had it memorized, and it could have been long, like the Lord's Prayer, and I had it memorized. But times have changed. I'm getting older. It's just not easy for me anymore. I wonder if it's also because you can hold so much information in your brain until there's just not that much more room for stuff without pushing other stuff out. I don't know. But so my biggest hurdle is remembering all of the meanings per se. Now, on the other hand, I find that my intuition is right on. It's always been very, very strong. So if I'm reading them completely intuitive, I feel like that's better for me. And I find that that's easier most of the time with oracle cards, just because I am a Capricorn and I like structure and I like the meaning. So it's like a battle. But anyways, I'm sure that that will change as the more, with the more experience that I get with both. The next question, number 15, is, are you a closeted witch? No, I'm not a closeted anything. I'm not ever afraid to, let people know who I really am. I've got a voice. That's one thing my mom always taught us, because my sister and I were mainly raised by a single mom. I mean, she would be married, but it wasn't to my father, so she was always the law. She was our mom and dad, and she always said, know your voice and use your voice. So we always have. That's never been an issue. I'm probably a lot, and being a Capricorn, I'm not afraid to use my voice, and, being a manager and whatever I do, or an entrepreneur, whatever. So I'm not closeted anything. However, I would also say that I don't really know if I would label myself as a witch, or anything for that matter. I think that labels limit us. So, not that being a witch is a bad thing. No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying I don't know what I would categorize myself in, if I would categorize myself at all. I don't like necessarily labels. And I think that, as people, we grow and change, and I would hope that if you're doing it right, that we're evolving because we're learning and growing. But anyways, so no, I would say I'm definitely not a closeted witch, if that was what I would term myself as a witch. I am not closeted. like I've seen other people say, I'm not going out into the world going, guess what, guys, I'm a witch. I'm not like that. I'm not jumping down the street and, wearing clothes that are overtly witchy and dark and having, when I do like my nails dark, it's because I like the way it looks, not because I think it's a witchy aesthetic. And although I like certain symbols, I'm also respectful, and I don't want to make other people feel uncomfortable, because I know somebody can see a symbol and think the absolute wrong thing. And I also understand, or I believe, that, you can put out a certain thing or draw certain things to you by the thought process. So I'm just mindful of that always. So the last question is, do you work with or connect with a specific deity? So here's the thing. In my level of development, where I'm at right now, I would say the only deity that I work with is Mother, Father, God. I say that because, well, this is what I wrote down. I do not personally work with any other God other than the one God. I believe that we are of God, and God is in each of us together, like one consciousness, the law of one, okay, and the law of attraction. That's why learning about witchcraft and learning about herbs and the healing properties of the gemstones, that was like a natural evolution for me. Just because, and I've said this on other channels and watching some of the things that other people have said and commenting on that I definitely believe that it was a natural evolution, because I see like spell work as a couple of different things. Yes, the law of one. Yes, because we're all connected, one universe. Law of attraction, because spell work is using the right words in order to attract it in the right way. It's like a prayer, like as in Christianity or, any other religion where you would pray. It's like doing it on steroids, or being a more efficient prayer is spell work if you're doing it the right way. So that's why it was a natural progression for me. But when I pray to God, I pray to Mother, Father, God, because I believe in the male and female principle. I believe that procreation doesn't happen without the two different polarities. I think that Christianity but just pushed the female principle right off the side and, tried to make it all very much about the male principle versus the female. And that's where I think we went wrong, without a doubt. I believe in balance. I believe that our higher self is both or neither as well. I do believe in reincarnation, and I believe that each of us, our higher... Okay, sorry, my recording stopped on me. So, like I was saying, I believe that our higher selves, I believe our spirit, were both or neither, as far as that goes. But what I'm trying to get into, what I'm trying to point out is that I am interested in the different pantheons and gods, the different goddesses and the different gods, like Odin and Thor and Zeus and all of them, the different pantheons, whether it's Norse, Greek, Roman, Egyptian, they all interest me. However, I do not think that they are anything different than, I think that they are just different versions of the same God, Mother, Father, God. So I don't worship them. I don't invoke any of them. And that's where I'm at in my development right now. Do I see me? I look at them as archetypes. So I might the more and more I learn about it, like I said, I'm still learning. So I'm at the level that I'm at right now, I don't invoke anything. I don't feel comfortable invoking anything. And that's the same with angels and gods. When I pray to like Mother, Father, God, I pray about being grateful. Even when I pray about my food, when I eat, I pray to every component, whether it's chicken or turkey, or because I don't eat the red meats or pork or anything like that. I don't really drink milk, cow milk. I make my own cashew milk and I make my own almond milk. And so I will pray or give thanks to, one moment. So now with saying that, I'm not saying that praying to any other god or goddess is wrong. That's just not my belief. And I believe that we all have to come to our own truths. And, at the end, we're all responsible for our own selves. So, the way that I pray, like I said, I just give thanks. And before I eat it, I just bless whatever I've ate, whether it be blueberries or strawberries or brand cereal or whatever it is. I believe that there's energy in everything, and I just bless them with my gratitude and my love and appreciation for their contribution to my nutrition, and I just leave it at that. And whenever I'm using crystals and holding intentions, I will give thanks to them, because I also believe that they're another energy, but I don't pray, I guess. I don't know. It's hard to put into words, but really, I think that's about all, about me. And I would like to see others maybe pick up this hashtag so I can learn a little bit about them if they don't already have something like that. It's the Get to Know Me hashtag. And the person that I seen it from was Fluffy and the Witch. And I will put her YouTube channel down below in the description. And I hope you have enjoyed getting to know a little bit about me. Sending you guys always just love and light. Thank you.